Good morning, everyone. Here we are at the end of the holiday season. It is officially 12th night tonight. It's also the day when the kings show up. It's also a whole lot of other things in varying different traditions. So no matter what you celebrate or don't celebrate, we're happy you're here this morning.
Good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year. Welcome to Mountain Vista Unitarian Universalist's first service of the year 2025. My name is Alex Stuckey, and I'm your pastoral associate today. Our service today is being led by our minister, Reverend Matthew Funk-Crary, as well as the talents of MVU staff, which include Chris Tackett, our music director, Stacy Sosa, our religious exploration coordinator, Tay Safehaven, our engagement coordinator, and Steffi Morales, our office administrator. I'd like to, of course, express thank you to our volunteers that help make this service possible, our AV team, which is being run by Lee Hickey, Robin Crary, and Bob Seifried. The volunteers who are part of the welcoming committee, Joel Yellen, who's not only our song leader, but also coordinates the refreshments after service, and of course, the volunteers who are assisting watching the children in the religious exploration room. I want to thank you all for being here with us, as well as our members who are watching virtually, whether now or in the future via YouTube. We're glad you're here. Today's service is about finding joy. We acknowledge the land of the Thana Otham and Yaqui people. We are seeking continued relationships. Today's service is about finding joy, sometimes despite clutter, physical, emotional, and even spiritual, that can weigh us down. We hope this service sparks joy for you. I knew that. Our chalice to lighting today is Thanks to Marie Kondo by Reverend Sean Parker Dennison. Now I have a question to ask myself and others as we navigate painful and brilliant, both within and without this messy world. It isn't so much learning the perfect fold or which container to use. We have all been taught that hoarding will help us feel better, that we will not feel so alone. But closets full of clothes only hide the skeletons, and all these things I have gathered around me are not the same as company, are not the same as hope. I have been preparing for the worst, for all the apocalypses I can imagine. I have been saving all of this instead of saving my soul, instead of being here in this moment. I don't think you know how radical your one small question could be if applied to all things: presidents, protests, Proud Boys. Does this spark joy?
As Alex gets some fuel to light the chalice, which is totally fine, right? It's a new year, there's new things. I do want to just offer you this. I'm really proud that we are a generous people. We give of our time and our talent and our treasure to support and sustain this, and we give powerfully to our partner organizations that are taking amazing action locally and globally. And through our generosity every Sunday, we take 2 collections just outside these doors. One in a wooden bowl to support the congregation, and the other in a woven basket to a partner organization that we focus on all month long. And so all of this January, our woven basket is going to be for Contigo También, which is the immigration ministry of our congregation. And Cheryl and John, leaders of Contigo También, are going to tell you a little bit more. Please.
Good morning. I'm Cheryl Berman.
And I'm John Geiger. We are so happy to tell you about Contigo También, which is our woven basket partner for January. Contigo También is a ministry of MVUU. We are committed to ensuring dignified care and compassion support to individuals facing the harsh reality of the U.S. Immigration system and the challenges of the asylum process. Contigo También started as Contigo, an interfaith coalition that extended a lifeline to incarcerated asylum seekers, offering crucial support both during and after their release. Our current work is a collaborative effort alongside Immigration Justice Ministry, the Interfaith Community Services, Literacy Connect, Keep Tucson Together, Casa Mariposa, Detention Visitation Project, and El Rio Medical Clinic. At the heart of Contigo También's mission is the goal of finding sponsors for detained immigrants, enabling their release from detention, and the beginning of a hopeful new chapter in their lives. For those who join our program, we embrace them as our guests, and we strive to walk along them as they're on their journey. They are the leads of their life, and we are their support. This help includes sponsorship and securing safe housing, providing transportation, food, English language learning, and other vital resources. We are committed to forming supportive relationships that empower our guests to establish their lives with hope and resilience. All help is provided with direct permission of the adult family members.
The original Contigo was founded in 2020 with Sherry Desmond May and Theda Ellis as the leads, and so much involvement of so many individuals from MVUU. Contigo made a profound difference in the lives of 13 asylum seekers, a total of 2 individuals, 1 couple, and 3 families. The individuals, 2 adult men, were from Haiti, 1 couple was from Russia, 1 family was from Haiti, a couple plus their very young baby, and 2 families from Venezuela, 2 parents and 1 child each. Contigo was a lifeline for 35 individuals, providing sponsorship and critical support to help them safely navigate the detention process and reach their destinations across the U.S. Contigo linked incarcerated immigrants seeking asylum with sponsors, enabling them to be released from detention. All the previous guests of Contigo are self-supporting at this time. One person is living in Tucson and others are in cities around the U.S. We have not tracked the current status of the 35 individuals Contigo helped with sponsorship. Our most recent family from Haiti, consisting of Kesnel, Giveland, and Kerwensley, who we met last year, are living in Tucson, have their own apartment, and Kesnel has a full-time job doing car detailing at the Lexus dealership in Tucson. They're doing very well and are self-supporting. Contigo Tambien is a continuation but new iteration of Contigo and consists primarily of support from MVUU and our local community. Our current guests are 2 Venezuelan families. One family, the Gonzalez Calderon family, consists of Gabriel, Serubi, and Liam, age 6. Since Serubi, Liam, and Gabriel arrived in Tucson separately, they have different dates for asylum hearings. One is in 2025 and the rest in 2026. There's a backlog of thousands of applications for fingerprinting and asylum. Our second family, the Blanco family, consists of Willie, Juan Anais, and William, age 8. Both families are up to date with their immigration applications and are having regular check-ins with ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. The Blanco family has asylum hearings tentatively set up for 2026.
The primary goal of Tambien at this time are the following. Number 1, to ensure all is done and in place for the asylum applications for both families. 2, to ensure the immediate health needs of both families are met. 3, to ensure that the families have the basics of food, shelter, clothing as they transition to independence. And 4, to help both families attain, keep full-time employment, and become totally independent.
We gratefully accept and are very appreciative of all donations and contributions. If you care to help with translation, English lessons, driving, or other needs of Contigo Tambien during 2025, even if you had volunteered in 2024, please contact Cheryl and John at cherylandjohn@hotmail.com or sign up with us in the Oasis during fellowship. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you both. All of your gifts, all the time and the talent and the treasure that goes into the wooden bowl or to Contigo Tambien in the woven basket, all of that you give is gratefully received. Our first hymn together is number 345. With joy we claim the glowing light.
Let's stand and sing.
With joy we claim the growing light, advancing thought and widening view, the larger freedom, clearer sight, which from the old unfold the new. With wider view come laughter, goal with fuller light, more good to see. With freedom, truer self-control, with knowledge, deeper reverence be.
I invite you now to a time of contemplation, of considering, and pondering. What sparks joy? Marie Kondo, whose name you've heard, and perhaps you have used some of her methods, is also known as Con Marie. And she proposes that we ask, does it spark joy when regarding our stuff? Con Marie is an international organizing guru, a literally living saint to many of us when we clear out the clutter of our lives. And her method is to pile up one kind of your stuff, such as emptying all of your clothes from your closets and your dressers and your wardrobes into one big heap, and then quickly addressing each item with the question, does it spark joy? Those that do spark joy you keep, and then you make your home more joy-filled. And those that you don't, and actually, that's the origin of this pile of stuff. These are the things that didn't spark joy that many of us have brought here today. Now, KonMari is a practitioner of Shintoism, a Japanese faith tradition oriented around local and household spirits. And in this regard, joy is a spirit in your life. Deepening that context, KonMari's question, when it's translated directly from Japanese, is closer to, does it flutter? Does it throb? Does it palpitate with joy? Is it vibrant in the spirit of joy? Can you feel it? And that's much more than, the emotion of happiness. It's experiencing a spirit that's exuberant and delightful and wondrous and even awesome. Held this way, does it spark joy becomes less a question about your relationship to your stuff and more about your connection to the spirit of joy itself. And while this may be a little more than KonMari intends when you clean out your closets, it is exactly what Reverend Sean suggests for us. At the ending of our chalice lighting, you might have caught it. They wrote to us, I don't think you know how radical this one small question could be if applied to all things presidents and protests and Proud Boys. Does this spark joy? And into that list, I might include this pile of previously owned possessions. Because when we approach it radically, does it spark joy, is whatever relates us back to the vibrancy of the spirit of joy. You keep what connects, what's exuberant and delightful, wondrous, awe-inspiring, and then you pass on whatever does not, like this pile right here. It's a pretty big pile, isn't it? And I will tell you, we actually have more boxes of donations in the back. So first of all, thank you for passing all this stuff that is unjoyful to you. You might be wondering, though, what are we going to do with this pile? Well, the first thing we're going to do is Contigo Tambien is going to offer these things to the Blanco and Gonzalez families. It's a small way we continue the work of our immigration ministry, supporting two families as they seek asylum and craft new lives here in the United States. And then with everything else, we will hold a rummage sale. And so if you see things that you think might spark joy for you, know that you might be able to purchase them later. Not today, but later. But there's something in that. There's something in that plan that actually starts to spark joy for me. Can you feel it? That others might find some of these things useful that don't bring us joy. There's a connection there. Feels like an affirmation of sorts to a wider view, a deepening meaning. It's not the stuff itself, but it's our connection to others that sparks joy. It's our connection to others, even through stuff that we will never see them get, that sparks joy. Think of that. We feel joy connecting with others. We experience delight and wonder and awe when we move, when we shake and quake in relationship with others and our beautiful world. Our stuff, it can spark the experience, but it isn't the stuff that we're feeling. It's the spirit of joy itself. And so as we begin 2025, I wish you a joy-filled new year, a year that is more connected, more connecting, more joy-filled. And you have a year of passing on all that does not bring you that exuberant experience of delight and wonder and awe, so that there is more space, more place in your life for joy. Here at Mountain Vista, we are a people and a place with many programs that spark joy. And we are a people and place and programs that hold loss and sorrow and concern with our lamentations. And each week we gather, we share the sparks and the laments so that we can celebrate and we can comfort one another together. And so we pour out water from Sonoran skies, from our homes, from travels across the world. This is Mountain Vista Unitarian Universalist. And then we drop in stones for the joy that we know, often naming individual joys. We're going to need a microphone for you.
We have one joy to send today. We have a very good update on Joanne Sorensen. It was reported last Sunday that she had a stroke, but she's doing very well and has been transferred from the Tucson Medical Center to the Center for her rehab, and we're very grateful for her rapid recovery.
And of course, we add more stones for joys that are not yet named. And then we do the same for our sorrow and grief and concern. And then sometimes we speak the lament.
And we have a concern today. Renee Q has reported that Don has pneumonia and blood clots in both lungs. He had a thrombectomy on Saturday to get rid of the blood clots. They asked for prayers, good energy, and love to be sent Don's way for his recovery.
And then we add stones for what is unnamed among us, but still weighs heavily in our hearts. And I always like to add a few stones for our living everything and every day in between. We are a company of people celebrating our delight and our wonder and our awe in this life, as well as a people offering the comfort of laying down our lamentations to have them picked up and carried by this congregation. Leading us in all of this is our Pastoral Care Committee. This group, alongside Cheryl and I, make visits, give rides, and share what we know in the care of individuals, as we also lead all of us to care as a congregation. We help you be the people and the place with the programs to celebrate and comfort one another as a congregation. And so if you need us, please reach out and let our pastoral care team know what is happening with you and whether or not we can share aloud in this weekly ritual with our congregation your joy or sorrow. It's through our connections, these sparks, as well as the lamentations, that we care for one another and become a community alive with joy. Inspiring our meditation is the wisdom of Brené Brown, author, speaker, and clinical social worker. She writes, "I think the most terrifying human experience is joy. It's as if we believe, but by truly feeling it, we're setting ourselves up for a sucker punch. I used to stand over my 2 kids while they slept, and just as a profound sense of love and joy washed over me, I'd imagine horrible things happening to them. I know by my research that 95% of parents can relate to my constant disaster planning. The problem is, worrying about things that haven't happened doesn't protect us from pain. Ask anyone who has experienced a tragedy, and they will tell you there is no way to prepare. Instead, catastrophizing, as she calls it, squanders the one thing that we all want more in life. We simply cannot know joy without embracing vulnerability. And the way to do that is to focus on gratitude, not fear. The good news is that joy collected over time fuels resilience, ensuring that we'll have reservoirs of strength when the hard things do happen. With that wisdom, I invite you to a meditation of breath and of rest and of welcoming the fullness of joy. Breathe with me as your body allows in And out a little longer. And recall the spark of joy recently felt or long ago. Return to your vibrant connection of delight, wonder, of awe. And if you have it, I invite you to join me in saying out loud, I know joy. I know joy. If it has not begun already, then I also invite you to call upon your catastrophizing. Allow for your fearful, but what if, or your terrible, what, when. Recall it bravely here in community, if only for this moment. When experiencing catastrophizing, Brené Brown speaks aloud words she says changed her life. I am feeling vulnerable. I find it so humbling and even cleansing to speak it out loud, and you can join me if you would like. I am feeling vulnerable. I am feeling vulnerable. Admitting vulnerability, even just a little, makes way for gratitude. The space for us to feel thankful for what we have right now, right here, in this moment. I am grateful. I am grateful. I am grateful. And if you are feeling bold, speak your gratitude aloud so that those around you can hear you. Stephanie and Magnus and Robin. Speak it aloud. People want to hear what you're grateful for. We've made space for it. Thank you. Knowing the spirit of joy, allowing for our vulnerability, feeling thankful together, we welcome joy in its fullness. I welcome joy. Even when I'm worrying about what might be, I welcome joy for all that I have. I welcome joy, no matter what comes in 2025. Join me. I welcome joy. May we open ourselves to the spirit and power of joy, each of us and all of us in this coming year.
Every hymnal, virtually, around the world has a version of this tune in it. It's the Beethoven Ode to Joy, figured very appropriately. Although the thing is, virtually every hymnal around the world has a text that has only peripheral connection to the original text that Beethoven wrote. The original text that Beethoven used was the text by Friedrich Schiller, Freude schöner Götterfunken Tochter aus Elysium. Apologies to actual German speakers out there. Of course, the UU hymnal has this tune in it, and it has a fairly acceptable English version of Schiller's original text. Let's stand as we feel moved to, and let's sing. Number 327 in the gray hymnal, words on the screen, of course. Joy, thou goddess.
We're doing English only. Joy, thou goddess fair, immortal, offspring of Elysium, mad with rapture to the portal of thy holy fane we come. Fashion's laws indeed may sever, but thy magic joins again. Humankind is one forever, neath thy mild and gentle reign. Joy in nature's wide dominion, mightiest cause of all is found, and 'tis joy that moves the pinion when the wheel of time goes round. From the bud she lures the flower, suns from out their orbs of light. Distant spheres obey her power, far beyond our mortal sight.
Thank you so much, Joel and Chris. Today's reading is Black Joy from Reverend Kimberly Quinn Johnson's reflection in The Promise and the Practice. Before I begin, of course, I like to point out that these are her words, not mine, but out of respect for her writing, I'm not going to alter them in any way. I'm clearly not a black woman, but these words are too powerful not to share. It begins with the words by Barbara A. Holmes, spiritual teacher, activist, and writer. She writes, "Joy unspeakable is not silent. It moans, hums, and bends to the rhythm of the dancing universe. For our free African ancestors, joy unspeakable is drum talk. For enslaved Africans during the Middle Passage, joy unspeakable is the surprise of living one more day. For Africans in bondage in the Americas, joy unspeakable is the moment of a mystical encounter, when God tiptoes into the hush arbor. Joy unspeakable is humming How I Got Over after swimming safely to the shore of a swollen Ohio River when you know that you can't swim. When theologian Barbara A. Holmes talks about joy unspeakable, she's talking specifically about how the contemplative practices of the Black church have sustained Black people in America through suffering and survival. More than referring to a particular church or denomination, this experience is collective and transhistorical. It's also a different expression of Black religion than I'm expected to exhibit as a Black woman. On more than one occasion, I've had a particular mode of Black worship projected onto me. The more charismatic modes of Black worship that we're so familiar with, the shout, the stomp, the song. That particular style of Black worship sometimes strikes me as a caricature of joy, a shallow stereotype. I see this in the expectation that more Black worship will bring more lively singing, more rhythmic clapping, more energetic worship. I see this in the anxiety that more Black worship will bring more lively singing, more rhythmic clapping, more energetic worship, the shout, the stomp, the song. But this caricature, this stereotype, is a narrow sliver of the complexity and the richness of Black spirituality and Black worship. The modes of Black spirituality that are most powerful, nourishing, and nurturing for me aren't the stop, the shout, or the song. Instead, I think of the rock, the sway, the bend, the moan, the hum. And I think of these things done in community. I marvel that in the midst of sadness and sorrow, in the midst of feeling the effects of generations of trauma wrought by racism and white supremacy, we can still find joy with each other. We are finding joy in each other. I call it Black joy because I am Black, and it is the joy that I have been familiar with my whole life. It is the joy that I have learned from Black people. It is the joy created through our collective healing, our laying down of burdens to be picked up and shared by our people, our community. This is not joy in spite of suffering, a mask put on to hide pain, an armor put on to push through pain. This is an embrace, holding and soothing us in our suffering. This Black joy is joy created through our being together. This Black joy reminds me that I am not alone, that trouble don't last always, that I am held and carried forward by a power beyond what I can comprehend. I call it Black joy, but I want to offer it to the extent that is mine to offer to this faith. One of my gifts to Unitarian Universalism is the suggestion that joy is ours. We are the people who commit to justice, equity, and compassion. We are the people who aspire to world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. We are the people who affirm our interdependence with each other and the universe itself. I want to challenge Unitarian Universalism and Unitarian Universalists to claim joy. Unitarian Universalist joy will require a different way of imagining ourselves and a different way of being with each other. Claiming the possibility of Unitarian Universalist joy requires making space for the surprise. Claiming the possibility of Unitarian Universalist joy requires slowing down to hear the talk of the drum, pausing to move to the rhythms of the drum. Unitarian Universalist joy requires opening to the possibility of the mystical encounter. Unitarian Universalist joy requires embodying this faith differently than many of us are accustomed to.
I invite you now to prayer. Spirit of joy, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of joy, come to me, come to me. Amen. Joy is elusive, ethereal, even evasive at times, and yet it's so energizing and enlivening and exuberant that I sincerely wish it would come to me much, much more. Or at least that's the story that I have told myself about joy. That joy is something I have to yearn for, search for, chase after, as if it were a commodity that was scarce, rather than a reality, a spiritual reality. It's a story of limits and scarcity that I then overlay on my experiences of joy, and it has become a cycle, and kind of tragic one, confirming that joy is fleeting because I expect that joy is fleeting. And I have, to play with yet another song's lyrics, been looking for joy in all the wrong places. Now, I might be the only one who tells myself that story, but perhaps some of you can relate. With the beginning of this new year, though, I've been seeking a different story, a new story to tell myself about joy, and I want to share it with you. It's a story about abundance. And it begins this way. Joy is not an emotion. Joy is a fundamental experience of the spiritual. Joy is altogether a different way of existing, another way of knowing, a different state of being. It is mystical and it is miraculous. We are immersed in joy every day, all the time, and yet we've been taught and then learned very well that it is the quantity of the things that we own that brings joy, rather than joy being a fundamental quality of our lives. Now, this may be a slightly different story of joy than you are accustomed to, but if you've been accustomed to a story of joy as a tragically scarce commodity, as I have, then perhaps you want to tell this story to yourself as well. Now, storytelling like this is a spiritual practice. When you take the experience of life and then you recraft it into new frameworks to perceive yourself or others in deeper, truer, more meaningful ways, that's a new story and a spiritual practice. And it's like what we've been doing as a human species for our entire existence. Harriet DeWitt, who's a professor at the University of Chicago Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Science, relates. People have long sought meaning and significance in their lives through a variety of spiritual practices, including prayer and fasting and chanting and solitude and meditation. The common theme of these experiences, with or without the age of psychoactive agents, has been to free oneself of the bounds of everyday perception and thought in search for universal truths and enlightenment. When it comes to seeking a meaning for joy that liberates us from our everyday stories, then I would also include song and dance, breaking bread together, and laughter, because these are many practices that we engage in here at Mountain Vista to discover joy. We pray together, and we are silent together. We fast and we eat. We chant and we sing, we breathe and we dance and we laugh, all to engage the spirit of joy. And none of these are the same. Our approaches are often very different from one another, and yet when we share them, when we stretch beyond what's familiar, we find a vibrant delight, an exuberant wonder, and a movement as a community together into awe. And this is exactly what Reverend Kimberly invites us, challenges us to do, to imagine ourselves and being together in a different way, so that we as a community and then as individuals embody joy. It's a challenge because, like any new story, it's not familiar. Having cultivated a sense of our individual spirituality in contrast to a community spirit, our personal preferences against the needs of a congregation, we might tell ourselves that one is better than the other, instead of them being interdependent. Your spirit and spirituality and the spirit and spirituality of community are dependent on one another. But even more than this, we are challenged because when we experience joy, we feel vulnerable. Now, alone we may catastrophize, But together, as a congregation, we apocalypticize. That's supersized crisis. To experience joy in community, we have to open to the diversity of joyful experiences, to the many means and methods of delight and wonder and awe alongside, well, look at each other, alongside these people. But when you open up to that joy, you also open up to the potential and the possible and the probable of sorrow and grief and concern. Of this community, of each other. Look at each other. And that's what vulnerability is. When we name it aloud, claiming our open-hearted vulnerability, it's challenging. And it opens you up to being grateful for the spirit of joy that holds, and it helps, and it heals all of us. When I stand at the door and greet you on Sunday mornings between 10 a.m. and 10:25, it sparks joy for me. Not in the limited story of joy of looking for it in the wrong places. I'm looking in the right place. It's a welcoming of delight and wonder and awe as I welcome you. I stand there not knowing exactly which of you will show up, in what order, or even if you will show up. I don't know how you will be doing. And I certainly don't know if we'll have an instant for a fist bump or a handshake or a hug, or we'll actually have a moment to have a meaningful conversation. It's kind of like what a minister's entire week is like. We just don't know. And when you come walking up to the front door, yes, absolutely, I feel vulnerable. As I become deeply aware of my limits and my mistakes. Catastrophize with you and over you and all of us. And it also fills me with the resilience for whatever might be. Greeting our rainbow of people, all of our colors and our ages and our spectrum of gender, our means and methods, and so much more of joy. It builds my resilience for the pain and suffering and sorrow that will be, that is coming, because that's the power of joy. Joy supports and sustains us through the unimaginable and the inevitably trying times. And that is a truth of every oppressed people. To repeat Reverend Kimberly, who calls this experience black joy because that's what's familiar to her, it is a marvel that in the midst of sorrow and sadness, in the midst of feeling the effects of generations of trauma wrought by racism and white supremacy, that we can still find joy with each other. We are finding joy in each other. It is a marvel that any human being in the face of historic and systemic oppression can find joy with others. It's miraculous. And it's that very miracle of joy that Reverend Kimberly invites us to, her Unitarian Universalist family. She wants us to join her. Directly impacted or simply in solidarity, we are a people committed to justice. Interdependent with each other and the universe, we envision a world of peace and liberty for everyone. To do that work faithfully, directly impacted or in solidarity, we need more than just conviction and vision. It won't take us very far. We need joy. We need joy that holds all the unimaginable and inevitable times that are coming this year. We need a joy that has the vitality to help us through the vulnerability sharing our fears to gratitude. We need a joy that has the power to heal us through the very audacity that delight and wonder and awe still exists in the world, no matter what troubles are here. Joy is an altogether different way of existing. It's another way of knowing, a different state of being. It's a mystical and it's miraculous. And this affirms for me clearly that joy is not the stuff that we own. It's not here and it's not in our bank accounts. Or to ruin another song, money can't buy me joy. Because joy is the spirit of life itself. It's an economy of abundance that runs counter to the story that we've been taught about the way the world works. It is, as Pema Chodron, a Tibetan Buddhist nun and teacher who's now retired, invites us to live. Share that wealth. Be generous with your joy. Give away what you want most. Be generous with your insights and delights. And this way, instead of chasing joy, instead of finding it fleeting, you will be joy. Pray that this is true for you, for me, for us. Amen.
Yes, I was actually about to just say that. We're going to sing Jim Scott's beautiful Gather the Spirit in just a moment. 347 in our gray hymnal, of course. Jim Scott will be here again this Saturday, the 11th. There's a poster out on the wall. Our friend Vince is actually sponsoring and producing this. Unfortunately, I had a bunch of conflicts and I can't even be there this weekend. But I hope many of you will be able to go and enjoy it. We're trying a little different thing. It's called a houseless house concert. He'll be performing out in the Oasis in a coffee house style atmosphere, and we hope you'll come and hear him at that time. What was the time? 6:30 p.m. this coming Saturday. There's a suggested donation, but if you haven't had the chance to hear him live, it's well worth coming and hearing him. Now let's stand as we are feeling moved to, and let's sing number 347, Gather the Spirits.
The Spirit has the power. Our separate fires will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery of this hour. Our idols in this light appear all the same. Gather in peace. Gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind. Seeds for the sowing are laid in store. Nurtured in love and conscience refined. With body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace. Gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit growing in all, drawn by the sun and fed by the sun. Winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again.
Thank you. Please be seated. I've challenged us this church year with a theme: don't fear the future. I know I chose it back in August, right? But I chose it because we have fears. We're not foolish people. But instead, I believe that we are a powerful people who engage and love and transform the future beyond all of our fears. And we do this in so many ways, like the Fun, Friendship, and Frolic fundraiser, today's 4F. It's today. We've been hearing about this for weeks. This has been planned for months. And it is so exciting because at its core, this fundraiser is all about sharing the spirit of joy. Our 4F organizers have reimagined the biggest fundraiser we do every year to make it easier for us to share in the activities and the services that connect us and bring us joy as a congregation. And so they're very busy at this moment putting things out. But if on 3 we could just all shout thank you, I bet they'll hear us. Okay, you ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you! Excellent. And in response to their planning, we have then offered 41 delightful, wondrous, awesome activities and services to choose from like these. See, alongside the number and the title and the date and the amount, there's a description of what sparks joy for a member or a friend of their congregation, the joy that they want to share with you. And so on 3, we're going to thank those people, the 41 who offered things. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. And here's what you're going to do today, because this is the first day of the sale. The second one next week is all the leftover stuff, but let's not leave anything left over. If you have not already, get a catalog and select what you would like to participate in. And then you'll go out onto the patio and with the help of our 4F organizers, sign up for the activity or event that you've chosen. Now, pay attention to the whole line. You want to know what you're signing up for. You want to know what the date is. You want to know what the cost is, because this is a fundraiser. Now, some of them are only one-time events, and others are going to happen again and again based on the amount of interest that we show. Then the 4F organizers will tally up the activities and events that you specifically have chosen, and then they're going to contact you in the coming week. This is just one of the many ways that we find joy together and support MBUU. But I am really grateful to all of you who are participating. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, to give time and space that you all need to engage in the 4F event, I will be leading our Renew UU sessions this Sunday and next Sunday at 1 p.m. This is to just give more space and time. It'll be up in the loft after our peer group finishes. And this week, we're going to be talking about what covenant is for Unitarian Universalists, and even more importantly, why it is significant right now, today. Next week, we're going to talk about why we are here ourselves now, specifically on the cusp of an incoming administration. We're going to be doing that work together at 1 o'clock up in the loft after our peer group finishes. And Debbie has an announcement.
I want to talk about something that's brought me great joy over several years and extend that opportunity to you. This is a new program at MVUU. It is called Dance Meditations, and it's going to be meeting on Tuesday mornings at 10:30 right here in the sanctuary, and it's free. Okay, people have been asking me that. There's no cost for this program. So what is it? Several of us in this congregation have been doing this for years, and it's brought us great joy, and in some cases it's been absolutely transformational. It's not traditional dance class. There are no steps to learn or routines to learn. It's not traditional meditation in that we sit in a quiet room and let our thoughts come. But rather there are prompts, which may be words or a phrase or a poem, and we then dance out whatever that sparks in us. So it's really interpretive dance, and you don't have to be a dancer, and you don't even have to be particularly mobile. It can be done from a chair, and our teacher is very gifted in making adaptations for people who have physical limitations. Yes, Mary. And it was supposed to start on Tuesday. However, this is being taught by Shara Aslaksen, who is the sister of our Reverend Ron, and the daughter of Jill Farris. And her husband had to have emergency surgery, so we're postponing it a week to start on January 14th. So, hope you'll join me, and if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Finally, on January 26th, last Sunday of this month, we are holding our new member ceremony. And I've been talking to about 20 people whether they are ready to join as members. If you'd like to have that conversation with me to discuss what belonging to MVUU's covenant is about, that process of belonging is coming and connecting, committing, and covenanting. Or if you're interested in knowing about our institution, how we care for it with our time and our talent and our treasure, then sitting down with me is the only requirement to joining and becoming a member. So please reach out and contact me. I'm going to reach out and contact many of you who have already expressed interest. And in the coming weeks, we'll have those meetings to discuss becoming a member on the 26th.
All right, our release in the flame is kindle new sparks. Please rise in body or in spirit and take the hand of those around you. We release our flame, kindle new sparks by Deborah Burrell, member of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Birmingham, Alabama. We have basked in the warmth and beauty of this flame and this community. As this chalice flame is extinguished, let us carry its glow within. Let us kindle new sparks within these walls and beyond.
The hand that you're touching, perhaps the trembling that you're feeling, is joy. Take it out into the world and be joy. Be joy. Go and be joy.